Good morning, students. Today we see outbreeding device or device for promoting cross pollination. First we see definition of outbreeding device. The device which discourages self-pollination and encourages cross-pollination is called outbreeding device. The device which discourages self-pollination and encourages cross-pollination is called outbreeding device. So here are two main key points. The first is discourage self-pollination. Why is it necessary for discourage self-pollination? We know that if self-pollination continue, then inbreeding depression take place. If inbreeding depression take place, then decrease the fertility rate. If inbreeding depression take place, then decrease fertility rate. So here we give more emphasis on encourage cross-pollination because cross-pollination help in increasing the fertility rate. So with the help of outbreeding device, we discourage self-pollination and encourage cross-pollination. Now there are 6 types of outbreeding device. There are 6 types of outbreeding device, and all device promote and ensure outbreeding through cross pollination. The first is unisexuality or production of unisexual flower. Second is dichogamy. The third is self-sterility or self-incompatibility, and the fourth is prepotency, fifth heterostyle, and the sixth hercogamy. Now we see the first device, unisexuality or production of unisexual flower. We should give more emphasis on production of unisexual flower. Production of unisexual flower, because we know that unisexual flower contain either male reproductive part of flower. So unisexual flower or dioecious flower help in cross pollination, and cross pollination help in increasing the fertility rate. So here example are mulberry, papaya, date palm. Now second device is dichogamy. In the case of dichogamy, what will be happens? Anthers and stigma mature at different times. Anthers and stigma mature at different times in a bisexual flower. So here key point is differences between maturation time of anther and stigma, or in another word we can say that the maturation time of anther is different from stigma. The maturation time of anther is different from maturation time of stigma and vice versa. So this type of condition help in cross pollination, and cross pollination help in increasing the rate of fertility. Now dichogamy is 2 types. The first is protandry and second is protogamy. The first, protandry. In the case of protandry, anthers mature earlier than stigma. Anthers mature earlier than stigma, and examples are rose, sunflower, salvia. Now again we see protandry. Here one keyword, Protandry. Andry is related to endoecium, and endoecium is the part of flower. Endoecium is the part of flower, and stamen is the smallest unit of endoecium, and also stamen is called male reproductive part of flower. So here protandry, andry represents endoecium, and endoecium is the part of flower, and we know that stamen is the smallest unit of endoecium, and stamen is also called male reproductive part of flower, and stamen contains anther and also filament. So here in the case of protandry, anthers mature earlier than stigma, and examples are rose, sunflower, salvia. Now in the case of protogyny, in the case of protogyny, stigma matures earlier than anthers, and examples of protogyny are Mirabilis jalapa, Gloriosa, Magnolia plantago, Gloriosa, Magnolia plantago, and Mirabilis jalapa. Now we again see protogyny. Here keyword is gyne, and gyne stands for gynoecium. A gynoecium is the part of flower, and we know that carpel or pistil is a smallest unit of gynoecium, and carpel or pistil is female reproductive part of flower. Carpel contains a stigma, also a style and ovary. Now in the case of protogyny, a stigma matures earlier than anthers, and examples are Mirabilis jalapa, Gloriosa, Magnolia, and plantago. Now we see self-sterility or self-incompatibility. Now in the case of self-sterility or self-incompatibility, pollen grains of one flower are incapable of growing. Pollen grains of one flower are incapable of growing over the stigma of the same flower. But why? Due to the presence of similar sterile genes. Again we see pollen grains of one flower are incapable of growing over the stigma of the same flower. But why? Due to presence of similar sterile genes. The second point is self-sterility or self-incompatibility is a genetic mechanism. It prevents self-pollination, it prevents pollen germination or pollen tube growth. And next is self-incompatibility may involve morphological or physiological mechanism. Examples, potato and tobacco. The next device is prepotency. In the case of prepotency, pollen grains of one flower grow more rapidly over the stigma of another flower as compared to the same flower. Again we see pollen grains of one flower grow more rapidly over the stigma of another flower as compared to the same flower. Examples are apple, grapes. And fifth device is heterostyle. Heterostyle is made up of two words, hetero and style. Hetero means different types, so it indicates different types of style on the basis of their height. So we can say that flowers have different types of height of style and stamen. Flowers have different types of height of styles and stamens. Styles are the part of flower, and also stamens are also part of the flower. It represent female reproductive part of flower and it represent male reproductive part of flower. Heterostyle is divided into two categories. The first is diheterostyle and the other is triheterostyle. Or diheterostyle is also called dimorphic heterostyle, and here triheterostyle is also called trimorphic heterostyle. Now, in the case of dimorphic or diheterostyle, here di means two. Di means two. So this type of heterostyle contains two types of flower. Di indicates two. So it contains two types of flower. The first is long style and short stamen, and the second is short style and long stamen. Examples: jasmine, primrose or primula. The next is trimorphic heterostyle or triheterostyle. Tri means three, so it contains three types of flower. The first is a long style, medium stamen and short height flower. The second is a style medium, stamen long and short height of flower. And the third, a style short, stamen long and medium height of flower. Examples of trimorphic heterostyle or triheterostyle are oxalis lythrum. Thank you.